Hello, beautiful humans. We are on episode 271. Oh my gosh. And today's conversation is all about our circulatory system, but specifically our blood. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Essential Oils Scoop podcast. We're here to help you confidently using essential oils in your daily life. No fluff, just real talk and practical tips. Each episode brings you education, inspiration, and of course, our scoop of the day. Let's elevate your wellness one drop at a time. So, hopefully, I didn't lose y'all when I said blood. Don't be scared. We're not showing you anything, but we're talking about the emotions that we hold in our body. This is a series that Sarah and I have been doing for, I want to say, almost a year now, right, Sarah? I would say like about a year.
I would say, yeah, I think it's been about a year that we started. I think we started this last year in January.
hmm And we've noticed with our analytics that you guys respond really well to this. You want to know what your body's doing. You want to know the emotions that you store in different areas. And so today we're highlighting the circulatory system, but specifically one part, and that is our blood. So Sarah's going to do Sarah's thing. She's so good at painting that picture of, you know, what it is. So I'm going to hand it over to her and then we're going to dive right in.
Well, I think when we're talking about blood, there's lots of parts. Obviously, blood goes everywhere to our entire body. We die without enough blood, right? Like end of story, right? And it it brings oxygen. We know it oxygenates our entire body. We know that, right? But some of the parts that make up blood are some of the things that are associated with this, not just blood, but we're talking blood vessels, arteries, veins, capillaries, red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, platelets. These should all be kind of like, if you don't know exactly what they do, they should at least sound familiar, right? Our
hmm
blood is our transportation through our entire body. Okay, so it transports everything that we need. Blood does that for us.
hmm
Okay, so when you have like hardening of the arteries, why is that bad? Because it's stopping blood flow.
hmm
So
Yeah.
in ancient Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about qi, the life force of the body, right? The energy that flows through the entire body. And I will tell you right now, if your blood is not flowing properly to your different tissues, your muscles, and all the different things, healing, that healing process doesn't happen. So
It's
let's say
very
when you,
sluggish.
right,
Absolutely.
let's say when you get like a bruise or a contusion of some sort, you see the bruise. Why, what do you see? Oh, those are basically broken capillaries and it's old blood that's there. And so it needs to be flushed out. And so why do we rub things? Do you ever hit yourself against like the end of your bed or maybe into a doorway and you just kind of like rub yourself naturally? You just, your hand goes to the spot, you rub it.
My doorways
That
keep moving, Sarah, and I keep bumping into them. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, like all of a sudden you just bump your arm into the doorway or something, right? But you automatically start rubbing it. If that is a inherent response to bringing blood flow to that area very quickly so the pain starts to go away.
hmm
So
And then
it's a
grab your
very,
helichrysum.
yes, definitely your helichrysum. But there you go. So blood
Mhm.
is important. Blood is super important. It helps actually regulate the body temperature as well. Like that's a really important part of the blood. But I'm not going to get into all of the different details of white blood cells and red blood cells and platelets. And if you want to do a deep dive into that, I welcome you to go and do that on your extra time
Mhm.
because this podcast is not long enough for Sarah to do a deep dive on what platelets do for you and
I
what
love you,
white
Sarah,
blood
but I would
cells.
not I would not tune in. I don't need to go into depth like that. No, thank
No,
you.
we're not doing a science. We are not a science podcast. So,
Mm-mm.
but just know blood is super important. You don't have it, you die.
Yeah. Factual. Okay. So Sarah, so we're going to go over some underlining emotions. What are some of the underlining emotions, Sarah, that we could be holding on to within this part of our circulatory system?
Well, since you mentioned holding on to, we've got withholding. Withholding is so we can be withholding. love from other people, but we can also feel like love is being withheld from us, right?
Hmm.
And then we have burdened, we have stressed. Who doesn't know what stressed is? Like, I
Hmm.
don't think I have to explain stress to anybody.
No.
Blocked, feeling blocked. That happens a lot for people, and sometimes they don't know how to describe that.
Hmm.
But it sounds a lot like stuck, which is another emotion that can mess with us, right? Like feeling stuck, feeling purposeless, feeling hardened, feeling overwhelmed. How many of you out there feel overwhelmed at times?
Absolutely. So, Sarah, before you go on, the block and stuck, sometimes we hear it in the language of something's off. Something feels off. I don't know what it is. I just feel off. And when we hear that language, at least for me and some of my clients, and I'm sure you too, it's okay, you're stuck somewhere or you block somewhere, you're numb to something. And I wanted to make that awareness connection of if you've ever said out loud or thought to yourself, like just something feels off, then that is a block of some kind.
And we're not talking about like something feels off with that other person because that's different. That's your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking about when something feels off with inside of you
Mm-hmm.
because feeling something is off with somebody else or a situation, that's a little bit different. That's like your spidey sense going off, your intuition, your Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call that. That
Mm-hmm.
is, we're not talking about that. We're talking about when
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, somebody asks you how you're doing, and you're just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the words to put it into perspective. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's the off that Vicky is feeling. Where that's the way my clients more describe it is, I don't know what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what's wrong.
Yeah. They can't
And
name
so,
it. They can't pin it. They can't point to it and be like, that's it.
yeah,
But they have that knowing, that feeling of inside of something's there. I just don't know.
something is there. I just don't know what that is, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Hmm.
And so there's something that I usually go, okay, can't put your finger on it. Are you feeling stuck? Like you can't make decisions, like you can't move forward? And they're like, oh yeah. Or are you feeling like the creativity is just blocked from you? Like you can't even think of a good idea because it's just blocked from your mind. And then
Hmm.
they're like, yes, that's how it is, right? So there's a way of like getting them to describe it, but then once they can name it, I always say you have to name it to tame it, right? Like you
Yep.
have to be able to
Agree.
say the emotion out loud. Just saying I'm scared doesn't help you. Like, okay, what are you scared of? I
Hmm.
don't know. Okay, well, how do you get over what you're scared of if you don't know what you're scared of?
Hmm.
Right? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that people will say that they don't know the words for. So this is why we really highlight these emotions, because then it gives you words to your feelings.
Hmm. Yeah.
So some of the other ones that we should, kind of highlight here are as unforgiving, hardened. Does your heart ever become hardened because you don't want to forgive somebody? I mean, they kind of go hand in hand together a little bit.
Hmm.
Then you've got some spiritual issues, generational issues, constricted, unloved, some emotional pain, and then feeling purposeless. Again, kind of in that, like, I don't know which direction to go in, kind of feeling stuck, kind of feeling blocked. And then you've got sacrificing. How many of us are very self sacrificing and
People
to our detriment?
pleasers. This is a
Yeah,
big one for you.
to a detriment. Yes.
Hmm.
So we have to be very careful with, there's a difference between serving people and sacrificing yourself for people. So,
Hmm.
like, learn the difference between servanthood and sacrificing,
Hmm.
because you don't want to sacrifice yourself and your own family's needs or your own needs for someone else who probably is taking advantage of your service.
Agreed. Agreed.
So,
So there's a lot of underlining emotions, as you can tell, but we're going to highlight two specific ones we think will resonate with the majority that is tuning in. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You're still learning some beautiful ways that you can incorporate this awareness and your essential oils into your daily life. And if you know someone that could really listen to what we are highlighting today, I encourage you to share this episode with them. Share the love. So, the first emotion we want to highlight is purposeless. Yeah, purposeless. I love the look deeper question in the Essential Emotions book. And by the way, get the book. Love yourself enough to get the book. We have a slew of essential oils that you can anchor into. And one of the look deeper questions that I love is what is missing in my life? What is missing in my life? And I thought, wow, that's very powerful, yet it's such a small question to ask. But the answer isn't small. What is missing in my life? What are my limiting beliefs about what I am capable of? Like mic drop, total mic drop. Sarah, what do you think about those questions?
well, it's like our limiting beliefs are, and it's most people would say they think they know what their limiting beliefs about themselves are. But then when you really start digging into it, they find out they have a whole lot more than what they thought.
Hmm.
There's things that you do, say, or habits that you've done for many, many years, and you don't even know why that you do them. And yet they are limiting your beliefs about yourself
Hmm. Yeah.
and limiting your potential.
My gosh. I think we're all guilty of that at some time in our life, if not now. It's once you open your awareness, it's my belief that it's hard to ignore it. It's hard to ignore the truth. It's hard to ignore those things. And some of those things can be difficult, but it's not unobtainable to move forward and release them. So I thought those two questions were amazing. And it's a starting point for you. Now, with those questions, there is an essential oil that we think would be a beautiful ally. Sarah, you want to highlight it?
Yeah, we talked about several in this because there's several listed. Like there's a
Hmm.
bunch listed. I mean, you've got Huga, Roman chamomile, blue tansy. Y'all know how much I love my blue tansy, right?
Hmm.
Blue lotus, Litsea. You know how much I love Litsea, and frankincense, ginger, guaiac wood. I mean, there's so many great ones. What do you choose? But we chose Tulsi. And why do we choose Tulsi? Well, Tulsi is also known as holy basil. So let's
Hmm.
chat about that for a second. And it's an amazing oil, but it's the oil of spiritual integration. So why does that kind of speak to me? Because this is where I think we need to know what we need to have some sort of spiritual connection at our deepest level in order to
Hmm.
help us to find our purpose.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
one of the parts that I love that when it talks about this, I mean, I'm just going to read you the first line because it gives you some background, right? Tulsi or holy basil is a sacred, highly valued herb in India. It is considered indispensable as nothing compares with its majestic qualities. So, right there tells you a lot, right? It is
Uh-huh.
highly regarded,
Hmm.
highly regarded. But I just love that it helps harmonize the conscious and the unconscious mind. Meaning, what does that mean? Let's like break that down for a second because you've got your subconscious mind, you got your conscious mind, and sometimes they fight against each other. Sometimes your conscious is like, hey, I'm going to go do this. And your subconscious is like, oh, but that's scary. Let's not do that. Let's stay in our little bubble. Don't go outside that comfort zone. That's scary. But you're like, but I want what's outside the comfort zone. I want success. I want whatever it is that you're trying to go for. And yeah, subconscious goes, "Oh, but we don't want to do that. Remember the last time you did that?" And it starts bringing up all these thoughts, right? How many times have you done that where you're like, "Ooh, I really want this." And you start to work towards it and you're like, "I'm going to go for it." And your brain goes, "Oh, but remember that one time in third grade when they made fun of you because you wore that shirt? You don't want to wear that kind of shirt online in before if you're going to go on camera or something like that. You don't want to do that." So it's like this thing that your subconscious fights against your conscientious brain. And so that's kind of where some of our limiting beliefs come into, right? A lot of our limiting beliefs are things that are holding us back and keeping us from our purpose, or helping us to keep that feeling helplessness or purposelessness going. Um, One of the things it talks about is this unified energy meets the center or the heart of one's being. This is exceptionally high vibration oil, shifts negative mental and emotional states instantly. So that's why it's so powerful and so sought after, because it can shift those negative emotions, that negative mental load, those very emotional states instantaneously, which is awesome. That's what we need, right? If we are like struggling in some way, we can just bam, turn it and go to a different way. It is excellent for individuals feeling overcome by stress, emotional dysregulation. Do you ever feel emotionally dysregulated, where you're like overwhelmed, your whole system feels overwhelmed, you're like so almost like so overwhelmed that you are like stuck in, it's like fight, flight, or freeze, and you're stuck in freeze? That's what that is. That's what that feels like. And so that emotional dysregulation, Tulsi can pull you out. So if you're having some of those moments where you're feeling totally dysregulated, you can pull out your Tulsi and you can shift that so fast. You can shift that mindset. You can shift how you feel about that really very quickly in a matter of minutes, really. The other thing that I really love about this oil is that Tulsi's greatest influence is on our spiritual and energetic plane. It reveals the often unseen strain of living outside of alignment with one's spiritual purpose. So if you are feeling unaligned, that off feeling, that like, I don't know what's wrong with me, I don't know what's going on, um, that is when Tulsi can come in clutch. And it reminds individuals on a soul level of their purpose, which existed before they were manifested into the physical realm. Like, guys, this is deep stuff. Tulsi is for when you are working on those deeper spiritual planes, when you need to find that deeper spiritual purpose and integrate it in with your regular subconscious and conscientious brain. This is the oil you're going to want to use, because this oil helps you to figure out your purpose before you even existed. How cool is that?
Mhm.
And it helps us to release the resistance to life spiritually, to life, and spiritually integrate the full actualization. That's really cool.
It's
Your
so cool,
full,
Sarah.
your full actualization into life.
Yeah. I know you already said this, but I love that it makes that connection. It influences us on that spiritual and energetic plane. A lot of, the buzzword of energy, everything has energy. Well, that's true. Yes. Our life force, the spirit, the divine, wherever your faith is, there's still energy there. And I don't know about you, but I could use all the help I can get walking through this life, right? Yes, I'm a believer in a higher power, absolutely. And maybe you are too. And I think these are tools that, you know, our God gave us to use to help us work through some of the hardships, some of the trials, some of the heaviness that this experience can bring. You know, being more aligned yes, please. I would like to subscribe to everything that will help me stay more aligned, right? Like, I don't want to be in misalignment. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to mess up. And I would love to lean into something on a consistent basis to help me through it. Thank you, Sarah, for taking over. I was just in awe, like, oh, yep, I'm over here as a listener right now. Not, I wasn't contributing too much, but I love it. I do.
You know, I dilute this, obviously. It's a little bit more potent, right? So you're gonna want to dilute it and then just place it at on the crown of your head. So right at the tippy top of your head, you're gonna want to put this just right there and on your temples.
Hmm.
And that's really gonna just really help with that clear thinking, getting back
Hmm.
into that spiritual integration. This would be a great oil to be using when you're journaling, when you're meditating, when you're in prayer. This is a good oil to be
Yeah.
diffusing during those times to like, one of your prayers can be like, how do I become more aligned within myself of my purpose on this
Mm-hmm.
earth? And that can be something that you pray and meditate over. The idea of like, what is my spiritual purpose? What is my purpose on this earth?
Hmm.
Because we all have different purposes. We all have kind of a different path that we're supposed to kind of follow. What's
Hmm.
yours?
Yeah, I love that. And again, follow the dots here. We're highlighting the circulatory system, specifically our blood, talking about purposeless and anchoring in to that beautiful oil in order to help us through. Now, we have another emotional root or, another emotion that we want to highlight. And Sarah, what is that?
So we were talking about um
Generational.
yeah, the
Yeah.
generational issues. We talked about so many different ones. Like we talked about
Hmm.
spiritual purpose, we talked about generational issues, we talked about stuck. We talked about so many different things, but that generational issues, like, man, do you ever get feeling like you look at your family tree and you're like, we got a few nuts running around my tree. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I got a few nuts I could shake out of my tree, you know?
I'm like the loose screws. There's some loose screws. Yeah.
I was
Uh-huh.
talking, I was talking to someone and they were like doing some family history. And they're like, I don't think my tree is a tree anymore. I think it's a wreath. Like some of
Oh,
the
heaven.
branches got twisted all the way back around. And he was like,
Oh,
ooh, that's,
heaven.
when we go deep into your family history, back in like 1700s, there was a lot of like marrying cousins and especially in nobility families, there's a lot of that. So when you start doing some of your deep family history, man, you're going to
Don't
open
be
up some.
surprised.
Yeah, don't be surprised when you open up a closet and you're like, whoa, you can't pack the skeletons away fast enough because they're all falling out on you, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so generational issues, Sarah. Uh, I'm looking at the essential emotions, but I'm actually on the app. I have a Mac and I downloaded the app, and I love that I get a twofer. I have the book. Well, I have the books, every version of it, but I love this app. And so I'm reading that there's a lot of essential oils that we could anchor into. And there's two specifically that we thought would be a beautiful start. Which one do you want to highlight first? Because I can't decide. So tag, you're it.
Um, I I love Douglas Fir. Like Douglas Fir is such a great oil. I could mainline that like into like some sort of duct system into my house and be completely happy with it.
Someone should create a device, no joke, for our listeners there that could withstand the potency of our essential oils that could be dispersed periodically. Because there's
It
things
exists. It exists.
yeah, but not for doTERRA. Not like that you
It
can put into.
exists.
Sarah's shaking
Um,
her head. Okay, pause, time out. Let's learn.
I
What?
will just tell you because we were at Goddard's and they were discussing their system that they have running through their house for
But I
their
thought the Goddards, I thought that
theater
was like
room.
their system. Like they're like, they had someone create it for their house, not necessarily like it's available
Well, once
for.
it's created. It's available for other people to purchase if you have the monetary amount that you want to spend for it. Yes, it's there.
Oh my gosh. Are we talking about their soaring through California stadium thingamadoodle? Okay. Well, fun fact, you can already get this. Just learn that. I'll share that with you guys right now. Super cool. Okay, I digress. Sorry, not sorry. Douglas Fir. I'm listening, Sarah.
Well, I love Douglas Fir because
Mhm.
I don't know, like for me, it's so calming. It's like it's calming the parts of me that are broken, for lack of a better word. I think if I just smell that long enough, it just makes me feel happy and like I can feel the shift within inside of me. And I think that's the most important, like I don't know. I love it. But it's very similar in its properties to white fur. So if back in the day we used to have white fur, we no longer source white fur because white fur is no longer sustainably can be sustainably and ethically sourced. Okay.
Mhm.
So we do not have white fur anymore. And so we have Douglas fir, which is very similar. But Douglas fir lives longer and is considered to be the older and wiser of the two trees. So this is like, I don't know, I think of like a wise grandfather, with lots of years of being able to, he could tell you what to do, but he like allows you to learn with him. And therefore, you glean his wisdom from you because he allows you to learn like that versus, somebody who just tells you what to do.
Okay, Sarah, this is where my brain went. And I agree with you. We're very similar on the fact that we love Douglas Fir for its generational wisdom. That's what it's there for. You know, helping us work through the generational issues, family issues, and the burdens that come with it. I always, not always, for a couple years now, I've thought of Douglas Fir as that tree in Pocahontas. I want to call it a willow tree. It's not a willow tree.
Grandma
Is it
Willow,
what is it called?
Grandmother Willow.
There you go, grandmother Will. Okay, this is what I think of. I think of it and I completely understand that that chaos that can be going on in the mind, but when you huff Douglas Fir, it quiets it. Would you agree? I know you're shaking your head, but would you
Yeah,
agree?
no,
Like just
it,
calms it?
yeah, it's just like the brain just kind of goes, whew,
Yes,
like
totally.
it's like that, your long day, and it's like that long sigh after this long day, and you just can go, you just smell it straight out of the bottle, and you're like,
Hmm.
and your whole body just kind of relaxes in.
Yeah, shoulders went down.
Hmm.
They're not touching your ears. It is a
Everything
very,
just
um,
relaxes.
yeah, it's a whole body experience.
It really is. It's lovely. It's very lovely. It's one of my absolute favorites. I love this with wild orange. It is one of my favorites to pair with wild orange, but that's later. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I'm on the same page, friend. Okay, so what are some of the things that you love about Douglas fir?
Um, One of the things I love is that it teaches to learn from the value of others' experiences, especially in one's family and ancestors. Like I am really big about learning about my ancestors. I love it. I could like I gobble the stuff up, right? Like I learn about my ancestry, I learn about my different people in my history. Like, man, it's so cool. It's so cool. Like I've got so many experiences about learning about different ancestors. And I mean, one of my ancestors, like a great great grandfather, we were able to trace everywhere that he served during the Civil War and like different battlefields that he was at because we knew what infantry and we could trace his like the last few weeks of his life all the way to where he was buried in Arlington Cemetery. And that's to me is so cool. Like it's so cool. And like I could tell a whole big long story about how we got there, but like learning about that and learning from my ancestors and learning from my family, but then also learning from like oh, I don't want to do that. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to continue certain family patterns.
Hmm.
I I want to nip those in the bud, and I try really hard to nip certain patterns and certain things in the bud. Like we know, because I've talked about this before, and if you're brand new, well, welcome to my life. Um, my parents were hoarders, right? And like I struggle with hoarding tendencies. And I
Hmm.
struggle with that, and I struggle with chaos, and I can't go into certain chaotic stores. Uh, I don't know how many of you listeners are familiar with the store Ollie's, but Ollie's is like this warehouse type of a place. Like it just gets leftovers of different cool. You can get lots of great deals and it's kind of cool. But if it's not organized, my brain I get anxiety.
Hmm.
Walking into someone's house that's very disorganized, which I mean I'm disorganized too, but like walking into someone else's disorganization gets me. Like I can't go. Sometimes I have a hard time going and helping people like pack and move their stuff because it's like their stuff is everywhere and I don't want to touch their stuff.
Hmm.
Going into secondhand stores or thrift stores for me, I have a hard time with. So like these are my issues, right?
Hmm.
So, but using my Douglas fir, there have been times where I've like gone to Goodwill and I'm like, I'm gonna take Douglas fir and Siberian fir with me in my purse because I can just like pull that out and I feel better because I know I have this is like very massive anxiety driven for me if I go into spaces like that.
Well, it's fascinating that you bring up Siberian fir. We're not going to highlight it today. We've done a whole podcast episode on it, I'm sure. If not, I'm eating my words and we'll do one as soon as possible. But I will take Siberian fir sublingually, which I would recommend anybody that takes essential oils internally, only talking doTERRA, does this. Siberian fir is wonderful. But taking that sublingually, like 2 drops, that's what I do. And then huffing Douglas fir is a great pairing. Now, there's a sentence in the Essential Emotions book that I want to read to you before we move on because we could talk for days. I love the sentence, and it says it encourages healthy family dynamics where people and meaningful relationships are valued over blind loyalty to traditions. Over blind loyalty to traditions. I know some of our listeners, I love you dearly, but it's still a battle of do it because it's tradition and reap the consequences, even though it's not good for you or the dynamic, over the healthy family dynamics that Douglas Fir can encourage. I am all about subscribing to doing what is a healthy family dynamic over the blind loyalty to traditions because I understand the the repercussions of those two choices and I want to reap the good over the not so great any day of the week now. But I love that Douglas Fir offers that and it encourages healthy family dynamics.
Yeah. It's such a good
Mhm.
oil. It
Yeah.
encourages people to respect their elders, their ancestral heritage. And Fir reminds individuals that valuable wisdom can often be obtained by learning from the past, especially from individuals who are older, wiser, and more experienced. And I think
Hmm.
sometimes as a society, we disregard our elders as being
Yeah.
old and out of touch. They don't
Hmm.
understand because they don't understand what life is like. But like dang, you're disregarding some of the things that they've gone through, their life battles. They've gone through societal changes. Think about this. My dad will be 95 in 3 weeks. Okay. We're having a big celebration for him. That man lived during World War II as a child.
Wild.
And you want to talk about like, so, World War II, we're talking 1940s. My dad was born in 1931. Okay. And so you can do the math. And think about all the things that that man has gone through. He lived through the Depression. He lived through World War II. He lived through lots of changes, societal changes, right? And we sit there and we disregard older people of like not understanding, but who better to understand than people who have grown up with societal changes throughout decades of societal changes?
Hmm.
decades, right? We're like, oh, they're out of touch. They don't understand. But man, we're talking, my dad was a young married guy in the 60s. You're going to tell me he doesn't understand what that was like? What
Human
going through
connection
those
is
steps?
human connection.
Like,
Uh, yeah,
and we're
yeah,
going to talk
stands the
about
test of
like,
time.
the 80s, and we're going to talk about like the recession that happened during that. My dad remembers that stuff. He remembers all
Hmm.
of it. His brain is amazing still. He
Hmm.
can he can recall all kinds of crazy stuff. And my 96-year-old aunt, her too. She's amazing. She is so amazing. They can recall all these things. And I love just hanging out and chatting with the two of them. They're hilarious. But they understand way better than we give them credit for of the modern issue. Whoa, this is a modern issue. Like they haven't gone through other issues that are similar in the past.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Again, human connection stands the test of time. It's don't be fooled, friends. Don't be fooled. Okay. Again, if you didn't hear us loud and clear, get yourself some Douglas Fir. It is the essential oil of generational wisdom. Who wouldn't want to have and tap into more wisdom? Inhale it, huff it from the bottle, diffuse it, rub it in your palms, huff your palms, like all those things. It's just not an internal oil. Do not take it internally. Now, before we let you go, though, we do want to highlight one more essential oil that we think would be a beautiful pairing for, working through generational issues, and that is petitgrain. Petitgrain is the essential oil of ancestry. Petitgrain is a great aid in healing a complicated family history. If you don't hear anything else, petitgrain is also a great aid in healing a complicated family history. Okay, where do I sign? I, I don't know. I mean, there's a couple paragraphs here that we could read. Absolutely. It's of all value. But if I had to sum it up, I really love that simple sentence. Sarah, what are some of
I love this the sentence right after that actually.
Mm,
It invites individuals to accept the humanness of their ancestors and seek to learn from their mistakes. I think sometimes we look at people in history and we hold them to the standard that we have today versus the standard that they were being held to of their day. And we expected them to have this different way of doing life that we don't do today, but we didn't live during their time.
mm-mm.
We didn't live during we watch movies or we watch TV shows or documentaries and we think those reenactments of that must show real life. But what we're not remembering is what they really truly went through. We can romanticize people's lives, but and think, oh, we would do this differently, but really, we don't know. And we've got to stop judging our ancestors and people in the past, historical people, based on our information given today.
Yeah. I'm really glad you said judgy because it is an oil to help you with the judginess.
Hmm.
It totally is. Um, I know I'm guilty of it. Like, uh, I, Sarah and I off air, we're talking about how we don't particularly love the aroma of petitgrain as much as others, right? It's not our first go-to, but we understand the energetic shifts that happen when we incorporate it into our lives, and it is much needed. But I love and again, judginess, the judginess that we can have as humans, this breaks it up. It allows you to have healthier relationships and the ability to want to have that relationship with them. I don't, yeah.
And it also helps with almost like making peace with with the past.
Yes, on the
Like
nose. Hmm.
making peace with that, like letting it go so it doesn't dictate how you live your life now.
Hmm.
It really allows you to say, okay, that was that. That was a family pattern, or that was something in my family history or my ancestry or whatever. But I don't have to do that. I can break free from those those bonds that it may have held me in for a little while. I can break free from those family patterns, and I can disconnect from those family patterns. It
Hmm.
doesn't have to hold on to me, but you
Hmm.
can also let it go and make peace with it and go, you know what? I'm choosing to unsubscribe from that behavior and those habits
Hmm.
and choosing a different way. And I can still honor and love my family or my ancestry or whatever. I can let it, because I'm not going to judge them anymore, because I've got my own battles to figure out.
Yeah. Petitgrain invites healthy awareness and balance. And I, I, I think it's an essential oil that you should at least try. You should at least try it out. Diffusing this essential oil is preferable. We know that smelling an essential oil is one of the fastest ways to trigger a response. Goes through our olfactory system to our limbic system, and it just gives us that quick response. You can also take this internally if you'd like. I've only done this a couple times within the over 10 years I've been in using essential oils, but you can. If you apply it topically, I would definitely dilute and put it where the sun don't shine. I would.
Hmm.
But my favorite method of using a petitgrain is using it aromatically.
And petitgrain is really great if you're going to put it on the bottoms of your feet or on the back of your spine, like on the base of your spine. Excellent place to put it as well. Um, I like diffusing it, but I diffuse it with lots of other oils.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. What some of and one of the words that it says for giving you a more positive emotion is chain breaking. And I loved the use of that word, chain breaking. You are with the awareness that comes with using petitgrain, the essential oil of ancestry. That ties back to the generational issues that we are highlighting for you right now. Friends, I hope this episode has been very eye opening and maybe heart opening. But in order to make change, you have to implement it in your life. So I'm just going to tell you my scoop of the day. And lately, I've been spicy in saying you take action because that's the only thing that's going to help you move forward is to take action. Be brave, step into this. You have these beautiful tools, but put them to work for you because they will not jump out of the bottle and be applied or put in your diffuser alone. I love you enough to be honest, and I would love for you to take one of the three oils that we've highlighted today and just simply diffuse it. That is my scoop of the day today. Sarah, what is your beautiful scoop?
Well, you were talking about emotions that you want to, feel more of, and were talking about chain breaking. And I looked at that list and I was like, pioneering. Like, think about being a pioneer of your own story. Like, what are you going to be the first of in your family? What are you going to like kind of go out there and trailblaze for yourself? And I like that image of like going out there and trailblazing your path. What is your path that you're going to trailblaze? So
It's
I
awesome.
really liked
I can
that.
see it. I can envision it.
So my scoop, of course, is going to be a couple of, actually, I've got two different diffuser blends. And
Perfect.
the two diffuser blends that I'm going to give you are, first is Tulsi. We're going to use 2 drops of Tulsi, 2 drops of Clary Sage. Why Clary Sage? That's clarity of vision. Okay. So we're going to use some Clary Sage and then 4 drops of wild orange. And I promise it's so good. So good. You're going to love it. Um, and then, okay, so that's the one diffuser blend. The second diffuser blend is Douglas Fir with Petitgrain and wild orange. Now, you're going to do 2 drops of Petitgrain, two I go heavy on this one. So I really like Douglas Fir. So I would do like 3 or 4 drops of Douglas Fir, but that's up to you. Um, and then 3 drops of wild orange.
Mm.
So good. So, so good together.
I love that, Sarah. Thank you. Okay, friends, we're going to see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode and are feeling inspired to dive in even deeper into the world of essential oils. Want exclusive offers, content, and recipes? Click on the newsletter link in the show notes today. Looking for even more wellness inspiration? Dive into our previous episodes and stay in the loop by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at the Essential Oil Scoop Podcast. Thanks for being a part of our essential oil family. And remember, hit the subscribe button to be notified every time we upload a brand new episode.